That's fine. Although I could hear you breathe, but that's okay.
Oh no, I don't want to be a noisy breather. That's such a gross trait.
I'm definitely sometimes a noisy breather. I can be a noisy breather.
I'm not normally a noisy breather, I thought, but maybe it's the excitement I have at this pod we're about to do.
Yeah, it's exciting pod.
Are we going? Are we in it?
I guess we're in it.
Well, go on, ask me how I am then.
I want to tighten this. I want to get this tight. I want to get this tight and early or something. What's that?
What?
What's that song? What's that song?
I don't know. Take it to the candy
get this
shop.
tight and
Nasty.
early.
Oh.
What is it? What's that song?
I don't know. I don't know any songs. I want to get nice and early.
Nice and dirty.
Nice and dirty. Make me tight.
Tight and dirty.
Tight and dirty.
What is that? You must know.
I have no idea. I don't even recognize the melody or anything.
It's like one of the most famous songs, I think.
Is it?
I'm gonna get...
We're going to have to ask a music podcast.
There used to be this app where you'd like sing into it and it would tell you what song you were singing, like Shazam, but like you just had to sing the melody. And I loved it, but it didn't work at all. It never worked.
Because you were too far away from the actual melody.
Well, it would just rely on, it would try and match you to like singing what other people had sent in.
What?
I don't know. How you doing, Luke?
I feel insane today.
Why?
Not been sleeping, mate. I've been getting, get this, sleep paralysis 2 times this week.
So take me through sleep paralysis. All I know is that you can't move and there's a demon at the end of your bed. Is that it?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, nailed it on the head. I get sleep paralysis. I didn't even know I got sleep paralysis until about a month ago. Never heard of it. Realized I get it maybe once a month, maybe once every 2 months.
Wait, so you never had it before?
No, I've had it my whole life.
Oh, but you didn't know what it was?
I didn't know it was a thing people got. I thought it was just a nightmare.
So you basically thought you were being sort of attacked by a demon and you were like, I'm not going to research this.
Well, yeah, just like as a bad dream.
Okay, yeah.
But
you
have that whole thing where you're like half awake. So it's like, mine will always be like this. Like I'll wake up in my room and I'll be exactly where I am actually in that moment in my room.
Okay.
But there'll be like some fucking horrific monster that's come from dreamland into my room, and he'll just mess with me, and so he'll just do something gross and creepy. Like he'll put so this week it was like 2 aliens sort of things, and they just kept putting their fingers in my mouth, and they were like feeding me like light. They had like light particles, and they were just putting them in my mouth, but they kept putting their like 2 fingers, like, yeah, you like getting probed, little, and I was like all stuck to my bed, and I couldn't move, and I was like, and then I think I'm awake, and then I wake up, but I'm still asleep, so they're still there. And then I have another second panic of like, and then I'm actually awake, but then I'm like doubting I'm actually awake because I feel like I was awake like 2 or 3 dreams ago where I've been like molested by aliens. You need the Inception
spinning top thing to see if it's real.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and it feels like it goes on forever. It feels like it goes on for like 15 minutes. Of like these creatures fully, and like you can feel it. That's what's so gross. Is like it's like a full sensory experience. So anyway, I'm annoyed about that, but I think I get it when I'm stressed for some reason. I don't know why I'm stressed. I shouldn't really be stressed at the moment.
What do you? Are there any famous people that get sleep paralysis?
I don't know.
Have any people got sleep paralysis and then turned into top horror filmmakers? Maybe you can capture it.
Yeah.
Like, okay, here's the thing. Here's what I'm thinking. Is I'm like, we all have bad dreams.
Yes.
Bad dreams are sort of horrible. Well, they are horrible. But then afterwards, you wake up and you're like, well, I've forgotten about them. I think like I have nightmares constantly. I told our friend Horatio that I have a nightmare every night, which he was fascinated by, and so I recorded the next 5 nights of dreams. You have a nightmare
every night?
Yeah, I mean it varies as to what they are. I think I have the list.
Every night, though, no breaks.
Pretty much. So I would say they're not all like classic nightmares.
Yeah,
but they are I'd say 98% of my dreams, I dream every night, and 98% of them are like unpleasant anxiety dreams.
Go on, give us something.
So this was so I was telling let me see if I can find it.
Should I fill the airwaves with some solo banter? Awesome noises.
No, sorry. Okay. That's the nightmare alarm. Okay, let's stop laughing so we don't have to include that in the podcast.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, after I told my friend that I had a nightmare every night, I was like, I think this is true. Maybe it's not. I'll do a dream diary for the first time ever. Mm-hmm. Okay. This is. You will notice a reoccurring theme, and I don't think you need to worry about that too much.
Okay.
Monday, chased by murderer with a bow and arrow. Tuesday, pushed around at a busy train station. Woman says I attacked/assaulted her. I'm going to get charged and lose my job. She says it's a homophobic crime.
Oh no.
Quite a different vibe. Still, I'd say a nightmare.
You molested someone and got accused of homophobia.
Exactly. I didn't molest someone. I was being pushed around and it led to an accusation of...
homophobic jostling.
Cancel culture is real, guys. It happened to me at a train station in my dream.
You're not even safe in your dream.
Wednesday. Let a young group of boys go to my local house birthday party. I don't know why I say I'm having a house party for my birthday, and I let a local group of youths join me. Mm-hmm. They go mental and start macing everyone.
Wait, like the spray?
Like bear spray.
Yeah, not like medieval.
Not medieval, no.
Clobbing people's
that would
heads
also
in.
be bad. Probably worse.
Yes, I think so.
But macing's still bad. Mm-hmm. Thursday. I get banned from my favourite gig for doing not a great set and also being perceived as offensive/homophobic. I'm incredibly upset. I want to quit stand-up. I also think there was some kind of grotesque monster living in my bedroom that was trying to kill me.
Sleep paralysis,
but all very much in the dream.
Yeah.
That was Thursday. Friday, I have 2 spots on my arm. I didn't know why they were there. Suddenly, I looked to see bugs burrowing into my flesh, digging holes. The spots were actually parasite nests. I had to scratch and rip off the bugs as they tried to burrow into me.
Ugh.
Finally, Saturday, my ex-girlfriend and my oldest friend's wedding.
What a range of anxieties.
Yeah.
Normally people, I feel, fixate on one. They have one thing that is their recurring anxiety.
I can really go. I've got a whole zoo of anxieties to show you.
Although the homophobic slurs one seems to be
Well, I would just like to say maybe something was happening that week on the news. It's such a weird one as well because, like, I think because I have so many gay friends and because I'm such an ally.
Okay.
No, but like, I don't know, but because among my friendship groups and stuff, being LGBT is so sort of normalized, and everyone knows loads of gay people and knows basically no homophobic people.
Yeah.
I'm kind of like, I'd be way more worried about being perceived as like sexist than I would by being perceived as homophobic.
Interesting. What? Because there's more women. You'd lose
because there's more women.
More
you can hide from the gate. No, because this is so not what I wanted to get into. But
Go on.
I'm
Let's
trying
talk
to
about
work
your
out
internalized
if this is a
homophobia.
pod-safe conversation.
Okay. Well, look, we can delete it.
We can delete it. I think like being homophobic is like so mad, right? Is like
you actually don't understand it.
Homophobia came from anyone who was just like, what? Men kissing men? That's gross.
Like it has nothing to do with anyone else.
Yeah, and now
So you can understand homophobia if gay guys were raping straight guys. But that's not what's going on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But why bring that?
Well, no, I bring that up because in the Bible there's that thing about Sodom and Gomorrah.
Yeah.
And the story. So I was looking into the story of Sodom and Gomorrah, being like, what does it actually say in the Bible? That's
So this is a sidetrack from what was already a sidetrack.
Yeah, well, we'll go back.
We'll retrace our steps through this labyrinth of tangents.
Why I brought this up. Because in the Bible, they're like, oh, the Christian text has all these anti-gay stuff. And I was like, what specifically is it? And one of the ones was Sodom and Gomorrah, where basically two angels go to these two deeply sinful cities, Sodom and Gomorrah, and they're like, basically people just going wildly hedonistic and out of control. Mm-hmm. And the two angels, while they're undercover, a gang of guys turn up and are like, hey, we heard there's two angels in there. We want to rape them. And it's a gang of guys. And they're like, well, you can't just rape the angels. That's not good. And that's been used as evidence for why homosexuality is bad. But obviously, you can be consensually homosexual, and perhaps the Bible is just saying like, no gang rape,
perhaps it's saying don't be a rapist.
Well, exactly, yes. It's a bit more interpreted than you'd think. So that's why I was wondering like, well, look, if gay guys were doing that, no.
I think all the Jesus content on your Instagram feed might be sending you a bit mad, Luke.
Hey, this is just some guy's opinion of the Bible, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think there's other stuff that is maybe more explicitly homophobic. But I found that funny to be like anyone who reads that being like, oh, these guys are trying to gang rape people. Must be because they're gay.
Yeah. It sounds like the homophobia is coming from the reader, not from the book there. Yeah, I mean, not that I'm a big Bible fan, but I do find it funny that there's like one main line in the Bible, which is about like man shall not lie with man or whatever, and it's and in the same like chapter or verse, it's like, oh, don't cut your hair into triangles and make sure you lick your cupboards clean every Tuesday. And it's just mental. Anyway, my point is like, it's so easy to be not homophobic. You're just like, you meet a gay person, you're like, hello, I like you the same as if you were not gay. You go to a gay wedding, great, you're not homophobic. There's not much to it. Like sexism, it's like, I tell someone, oh yeah, I take the bins out and my girlfriend like does the washing up or whatever. And they'll be like, well, that's actually rooted in a kind of inherent sexism in your relationship. I'm like, oh, for fuck's sake. Like, I'm not worried about clever people tell me that I have like subconscious bias about like sexism.
Who tells you this?
I don't know. People on the internet. People are like, oh, you can't do this.
Yeah. You can't take the bins out.
You can't take the bins out because that's not feminist.
Yeah.
Please, can we delete all of this? I'm making my point so badly. All my point is that I think it's hard, like, gender politics is so intertwined with your life, especially if you're in like a heterosexual relationship, that it's very hard to be like, you are truly equal and you truly treat the men in your life the same you treat the women in your life.
Well, I guess
also
like there's a tougher thing of like, it's 50-50 roughly. Like there's 50% of the population is women, 50% is men, more or less. Yeah. The gay population is like 10%. It's tiny. Yeah. Maybe even smaller than that.
Tiny. So, no, but I mean, everyone's LGBT now. These days. But that's actually now a queer talking point, is that they're saying that pride is being like overtaken by like queer people and allies. And actually, if you go to like pride events, most of the people aren't even gay. Yeah. It's like, this was our space. Yeah. And that's why my solidarity for gay people, I will never go. You will never find me there. I'm going to be at home watching the footy. That's my pride. Yeah. I'm into Everton Rochdale.
I'm into acceptance but segregation. You do your gay stuff over here, I'll do my hetero stuff over here. The way God intended it. Yeah. Isn't that kind of progress though, that everyone's like, pride is just like a thing? Is that not progress? I don't know.
It is progress.
Kind of.
Everyone's got to complain
like,
about something,
because it should be like, being gay should be like nothing, like uninteresting, right? Yeah. In a truly like equal society, just be like, whatever. Yeah. That's the sign of the best one. Yeah. Anyway, back to dreams. So you're scared of homophobia.
I was that week scared of... Yeah, I think I'm like a very stressed out person. I'm just a very anxious person. And it's weird. I don't really know. I was doing a gig the other day and I was like pacing around nervous and stressed because I always do that.
Yeah.
And after I did my set, I carried on pacing around nervous and stressed because I'm a nervous and stressed guy. And then one of the acts who hadn't even been on yet put his hand on my shoulder and went, it's all right, man. You can relax now. And I think I'm a bit oblivious and a bit living in my own world most of the time. So I don't really...
You're just like, you have no
quite
idea.
Often I just choose not to sort of notice the fact that my behaviour probably is mental to other people. Like when I walk down the street and practice my stand-up set out loud to myself outside the gig.
I had a punchline. I remember doing that through my house when I was living in Brixton, and I was walking around and the punchline was none of my friends are black, and I kept going through the streets of Brixton being like, none of my friends are black, none of my friends are black, none of my friends are black, just trying different cadence of the punchline, walking past loads of black people being like, huh?
Oh my, yeah.
And the irony is it's actually quite a woke joke. It doesn't look woke when you're just muttering, none of my friends are black through the streets of London. But that's also one thing I found, because I'm very similar to you. I also have like very anxious tendencies. And I found when woke stuff came out, what really I found tough was like, then I started analyzing absolutely everything I was doing, being like, who could potentially be offended by everything? And it stressed me out so much.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Where I was like, I don't think like, I was like, how am I contributing to systems of oppression? And then I was just like having panic attacks all the time. So I was like, everything could be perceived as a reinforcing this system that is against people. And then I didn't feel it was like, oh, now I can make meaningful contributions. I was just like at home being like,
yeah. I think it's hard. Like, I think even if you're left-wing liberal person who believes in, being sensitive and all these things, like it's hard not to get sort of overwhelmed and stressed by it all. And I see why people kind of there's more and more comedians like flipping back to being on the right and being in like GB News and that kind of thing.
But I feel like
you get sick of it, and if you're an anxious person worrying about it, it's much easier to go, oh, it's a load of bollocks, than it is to...
Well, it gives you mental bandwidth then, doesn't it? Because you're just like, whatever, I'm not going down all these avenues in which I might be contributing to something bad.
Yeah.
Easier to be right-wing. Should we go back to sleep paralysis and dreams?
We should start talking about movies.
No, I have one thing to say about sleep paralysis. Okay, because I used to get sleep paralysis horrendously, and then but what stressed it about me when I was a kid, because I used to have these vivid dreams and I used to remember them, and it would always be like being interfered with by like aliens or trolls or like shadow monsters. But when I went to school, do you remember in school they always used to do that thing where they would say, oh, what's like your dream job, kids? Like, what do you want to be when you're older? And they'd always be like, oh, my dream job's an astronaut, my dream job's a footballer. But I thought as a kid that your dream job was whatever you dreamt about. So when they were all saying like footballer, fire engine, I was like, oh my God, I'm just gonna be like molested by aliens professionally. And I had no idea how to monetize something like that. I was like, I'll never get a house. So that was what stressed me out more than anything.
Wow. Do you remember what you did you actually say, like, was anyone ever like, what's your dream job? And you were like, alien molestee.
I think I do remember talking about my nightmares and the teachers just being like, okay. Well, I don't remember if anything happened. Because I feel like that's what everyone says. It's like something bad must have happened in your childhood. But I think when you're anxious, it's just like, no, you just have an imagination, right?
Yeah.
And then that's just... I have deep empathy.
Yeah.
So I can imagine those things.
Deep empathy with Dream Luke, who's getting molested by aliens.
And should I talk about the movies I watched this week?
Yes, please.
One of them was called Revenge.
Amazing. This is Coralie Fargiat's.
Is that how you pronounce her
first
name?
Film. I think so.
I wasn't sure if it was Coralie Farget.
Oh, it might
Fargette.
be. But so she released The Substance last year, which was both of one of our favourite movies of the last year, if not my favourite film.
Really fun.
And this was her debut before that, which I have seen. What tell us about Revenge?
Well, I was surprised by this movie because, oh my God, how much revenge was it? No, I'm joking. I was surprised by this movie because it popped up on my movie. And it was described as a feminist exploitation genre bending movie. And I was like, wow, how are you going to sort of do feminist exploitation movie? And I watched it, and then it sort of felt like regular exploitation movie, but super, super well done.
Okay, so how do you define an exploitation movie?
So exploitation movies were like movies from the 60s and 70s that exploited like current popular trends to try and maximize people coming to the cinema. So they would often have things like, it would either be super taboo topics or they'd target like a specific demographic of people. So they might do things like, I don't know if you've ever seen the remake of Dracula that's called Blackula, targeting black audience members.
I know it. I haven't seen it.
Yeah, but so they're often like trashy, sort of really like just get the people to buy tickets, jump on every genre, jump on every trend, jump on every demographic we can think of, and just try and get them into the cinema. And often pretty crappy, pretty like offensive in a sort of stereotypical, stereotypical way. But to me, I think they are hilarious.
Right.
And there are some movies that are actually pretty
like
good.
a so bad it's good.
Yeah, kind of. They're all they're mostly B movies, and they're often like hyper violent, hyper taboo, kind of for no reason. So when you watch them, you're like, what?
Yeah.
That came out of nowhere and felt unnecessary. So they can be quite amusing. And there's often
it's
like...
because it's easier to show tits and chop a head off than it is to like write a good story or find good actors.
Exactly, yeah. It's very much like popcorn eating, like let's just have fun and whatever, give the people what they want. And the 70s and 60s particularly was like hyper violence, hyper sexualized, because it was when like censorship was like decreased for the first time in like movies. Right. So they were like, oh, let's really go ham.
Yeah.
So I guess in some ways it's kind of like, it's a bit weird to even have exploitation movies now, because it's like censorship is just gone essentially beyond sort of super, super hyper taboo stuff. Like you can show pretty much anything in a movie now. But I guess this one was arguing it because like a very common exploitation movie is like revenge rape movies where like a female protagonist is raped and then she goes and kills the rapists. And it's sort of, I didn't understand why this is considered a feminist one because nothing it's
made by a woman.
Well, this is
the plot of this movie is to sum it up, a woman is raped and gets revenge on her what's the opposite of a victim? On the perpetrators.
Perpetrators, right. Aggressors, yeah. And I would say it's a good movie, like super well made. It's exciting. It's gritty. It looks beautiful. Like the way it's filmed is crazy good. There's all these like for some reason there's all these like big close-ups of insects and animals. They look incredible. If you're into nature documentaries, you will love parts of this movie. Like there's a scene where it's like some blood is dripping onto an ant's nest, and you have this close-up of the ant just walking around with these giant like blood drops hitting it, and it's like all the noise is like the blood drops are making this huge noise because you're doing it from the ant's perspective. Yeah, and it looks incredible. And there's like these close-ups where they turn the rapist guys into like lizards, and they all sort of represent a sort of gross animal. And it looks really cool. But I wouldn't say there was anything that I saw it where I was like, oh yeah, this is clearly a feminist interpretation of an exploitation. It just felt like a very well-made, modern, harking back to exploitation movies. Like it's a pastiche, is that the right word?
Probably.
I don't know. Like it didn't feel like it was criticizing. It was just like, yeah, it's just a good version of one of these movies.
Right. I feel like so I saw this movie and I liked it. very stylish, like The Substance was. Very on the nose, simple political points being made, I think.
Yeah.
The Substance is like, oh, don't be so obsessed with beauty. And this is don't rape women, I suppose.
Yeah, don't rape women. You'll get fucking killed by women.
And I think I had a decent time with the movie. I am someone who finds revenge not really a plot that I kind of get into very often. Like, I think I watched this film and was like, oh no, this bad thing is happening to this lady. And then when she goes and gets violent revenge, I was like, oh no, this is now also horrible. This is now another horrible thing is happening.
Yeah.
And I remember feeling a bit like that when I saw Midsommar.
Yeah.
Being like, everyone else was like, yeah, these guys are being rude to Florence Pugh, and now they're going to get their comeuppance. And I was like, well, yeah, they are, but I don't like anything.
But Midsummer was like such a disproportionate reaction to what those boys had done.
So disproportionate.
This one, I'm at least like, all right, they've done a super bad crime.
I'm not saying I was watching
Screw
it and I was
these
like,
guys.
hey, let's be nicer to these rapists, to these like
Two
murderous
wrongs
rapists.
don't make a right, guys.
But I find it hard to when I don't know. Yeah, I find it hard to like get into the like cheering.
Yeah.
Like I quite liked. There are times when I think it does work. Like I think Quentin Tarantino does it quite well. Like I can get into it. Things like the end of Inglourious Bastards or the end of Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, I think are both good examples where I'm like, yeah. Extreme violence. But there's something, maybe it's the fact that like rape and these crimes are so real and so grim that you're then put in this kind of grim, real mindset, regardless of how like stylish the film is.
Yeah.
And then when they try and be like, and now let's get some bloody revenge. I'm like, actually, I'm traumatized and I would like a nap.
I would like to forgive and forget, please. Get on with my life.
Could we please let the justice system do its job and we'll... yes, I realise I probably am not the target audience of this feminist rape revenge movie. And it's a good film, but I think I was like, this is a good movie. This is made by a director with a lot of promise, but I didn't massively enjoy my time.
Yeah, this is very much like you will enjoy it if you like this kind of genre.
Yeah.
But I don't think, also particularly if anyone's sort of like, just being a feminist, I don't think is enough for you to enjoy this movie.
I'll briefly tell you what I've been watching.
Yeah, go on.
I've been watching TV shows this week. No
What?
movies.
What?
I've seen 2 TV shows, which I will talk about them both very briefly. Adolescence is the hot new show right now. It's number 1 on Netflix.
Oh.
It is very popular. 4 episodes, all filmed in one shot. Each of the episodes are filmed in one shot.
Whoa.
Written by Jack Thorne, directed by Philip Barantini, who directed Boiling Point, which is also all filmed in one
Boiling
shot.
Point was great. I loved
And
Boiling
this
Point.
also stars and is co-created by Stephen Graham. And Stephen Graham is the dad of a 13-year-old boy in England, and the boy is arrested on suspicion of murder. And the first episode begins with the police basically bashing down the front door of these people's home, arresting the teenage boy. Parents don't know anything about it. The teenage boy's like, what's happened? I haven't done anything. And anyway, it slowly transpires that this boy may or may not have been involved in a sort of incel-y manosphere plot to kill a girl in his school. And it's kind of watching the parents deal with this, watching the kid go through the legal proceedings. Each episode is its own thing. So the first episode is about the arrest. One episode is about like a psychiatrist visiting the teenage boy. And it's really good.
Yay.
It's a great show. Stephen Graham is fantastic. He's one of our best actors. Like, he's just a joy to watch. Like, so many times I was watching with my girlfriend, he would like pull a really good face, and we turn to each other and be like, he's so good, isn't he? He's so great. The other thing is,
That's how I wish people would react to me. If I just pulled a face and they think, what a great guy.
I think stuff filmed in one shot, which is often sort of argued to be like a gimmick, is so good. I don't
agree with that. It's like watching. It's a bit like watching theatre.
Yeah, so
like, it's got that same living quality to it. It's different.
I think the main thing it does in this, and one of my favourite movies is Victoria, which is all shot in one shot. Fantastic sort of thriller, heisty kind of movie. Highly, highly recommend that. Is it just, you realise that when you're watching a normal show or movie, every kind of camera cut is like a kind of moment to breathe. It's like a reset, or scene change or whatever. Stuff filmed in one shot, you feel like you can't breathe. It's just on and on and on and on. And it just builds up this tension that is really intense. And this show is very, very tense.
Yeah,
regardless of how kind of extreme or tense the scene happening is. Some are very intense, some are more just conversational. But you just, I don't know, you feel this kind of claustrophobic feeling, this kind of sense of this momentum pushing you forwards.
No, it's really stressful. That was one of the big things I found with if you watch like 80s Hong Kong action movies, they're often shot in one widescreen, maybe not one take, but shots, big long takes, and they're so much more intense than your Hollywood quick cut.
Yeah,
let's do this. It's so yeah. I totally know what you mean. It adds, and I think that translates just to like talking as well.
Yeah.
Creates this complete like lived in experience that can be much more involving.
Yeah. It is it definitely casts some kind of magic spell on the audience, and makes it super engrossing. So I really enjoyed that aspect, and I know a lot of people are getting it's like a lot in the news, and parents and stuff are talking about it because it's basically about kids being radicalized online and how that can happen. And it doesn't look into that in like loads of detail. It's quite sort of subtle. There's occasional bits that in a sort of British drama-y kind of way. It's a Netflix show, but it feels like a kind of BBC drama. Occasionally with things like that, things can feel a bit cheesy, or I don't know. Anyway, I'm like, it's great. You should. Everyone should watch it.
It's just 4 episodes,
4-hour-long episodes, or slightly less than an hour.
Sort of mini-series.
Yeah, and it's
mini-series, long takes.
Long takes. Yeah, I think they filmed 2 shots a day. I don't know if it was 2 episodes a day or 2. They did each thing twice. And there's fun things like they kind of improvise. And so the kid is like amazingly good as well. Like there's a scene with the psychiatrist in episode 3 where he yawns, and the psychiatrist is like, "Am I boring you?"
Oh.
And apparently that was all improvised. So the kid was just really exhausted after like a long day of working.
Right.
And he wasn't but the camera's on him and he's like and Erin Doherty, who plays the psychiatrist, who was in a really good show called Chloe as well, improvised that line. And I don't know. I also,
God, could you imagine the tension on the set when that happened?
Yeah.
Like, oh, do not fuck up this take.
Well, that's the other thing. You can like, you just watching it. There were quite a few times where I was like, how are they doing this? This is amazing. Or it's amazing how they kind of got everyone, because there's like quite a lot of kind of background extras and people being in the right place at the right time. One amazing thing happens in the last episode. The camera is obviously being like carried around or driven around, and in the final episode it goes into like a drone shot. And I was like, how is this happening? And anyway, I saw a behind the scenes bit of footage, and basically they had this drone that went and basically they have like a drone that you can attach the camera to. So it's a normal handheld camera, and then the cameraman is holding it, and then they fly a drone in to pick up the whole camera and then fly it around and then fly it back down to someone's hand where it carries on.
Could you
it's like a
imagine they
handheld
just
thing.
didn't secure that on properly? The camera just drops and rolls on the floor.
Yeah. Oh God, it must be so stressful to make. But yeah, one of the few. It's very rare that you see something on the number one spot of the Netflix charts, and it's going to be good. But this is good, and I would recommend it.
Boiling Point was I was so impressed with Boiling Point.
Boiling Point.
I don't think I've ever I've worked so much in hospitality, and I've never watched a movie that really actually encapsulates the feelings of it.
Yeah,
it's like almost everything that happens, bar maybe the final scene, is like you're just like, oh, I know that guy.
Yeah,
I know that kind of complaint. I know that feeling of like I've worked with that guy.
Yeah,
it's so good.
I'd say Boiling Point is maybe even more intense because it's just like so many things all like going wrong at once. This is a bit more kind of, you know, exploring an idea and a character study and that kind of thing. But really, really great. And also there's a few times. Some characters say, "Do you know what I mean?" But they say it so combined. It's like, "Do you know what I mean? Do you know what I mean?" And I realised it sounds like they're saying "chow mein." So me and Laura have just been going, "Chow mein,
chow mein,
chow mein."
If you want to sound like a proper Londoner,
chow mein,
chow mein.
I was just down at Tesco, chow mein.
Tesco, chow mein.
Don't do a Chinese accent.
What? I said chow mein.
It sounded Chinese.
No, it sounded London.
Chow mein.
I was down Tesco.
I was down Tesco. Chow mein.
Sam, what did you think of Black Bag?
Okay, well, I might say what Black Bag is first.
Yeah, go on.
So, Black Bag is a new movie. That's it. Black Bag has just come out of the cinemas. It's a new film by Steven Soderbergh. Our second Steven Soderbergh review in fucking doing a few months of this podcast.
What was our first one?
He made Presents.
Luke
wasn't a fan of Presents. Steven Soderbergh, prolific filmmaker. He's made a bunch of stuff. He made Ocean's 11, I think, and he did
Magic Mike.
He made Contagion. Good pandemic movie.
He's a busy boy.
Pandemic movie. Pre-real pandemic with a anyway. He's a good director when he gets it right. This is a new spy espionage crime thriller movie. It's about 90 minutes long. Stars Cate Blanchett and Michael Fassbender as a married couple for a unnamed British spy agency.
It's MI5 or MI6.
Basically MI5, MI6.
It's one of them.
Unless they said and we didn't realise.
Yeah.
And basically, at the beginning of the film, Michael Fassbender is told that there is a rat amongst some of his colleagues, which consists of two other couples, and his wife is also a potential rat. So he invites them all round for dinner to try and get some information about who the rat might be, and spy hijinks ensues.
Certainly does.
And yeah, a lot of the marketing in the movie is about like, can you trust your partner, and what would you do for your partner, and the tension of kind of doing stuff for the good of the world, the good of the country, etc., playing off sexual dynamics and what you expect and want and need from your partner, from your love, from your spouse. Luke, did that all work for you? And what did you think of the film?
No, I hated this movie. I didn't like this movie at all. I mean, look, I don't really like the spy genre generally, and this has the worst trope in the spy genre, which I hate it when they make spies like really smarmy and smart and clever, and everything they say is like, well, actually, blah, 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 and they're really conspicuous all the time. Because I'm like, that's the opposite of what a spy should be.
Yeah.
A spy should be fucking sneaky, not obvious, and I hate it. And they're all just posh cunt smarming about, being like, yeah, but what you didn't know is, and it's got that same fucking thing that they did in Ocean's 11, which is okay in Ocean's 11 because Ocean's 11 is a tongue-in-cheek, silly movie, which is like when they were like, well, things actually seemed like this, but they were actually like this, and then they have like this music that's like, and they're like stealing something which you didn't notice in the first shot before, and it just felt jarring.
Yeah.
Although one thing I did like was that they have a code word for when they can't talk about stuff because it's professionally sensitive. So they say black bag.
They say black bag,
Black
the name
bag.
of the movie.
Yeah.
It'll be like, oh, what were you up to yesterday? Black bag.
Black bag. Black bag.
You
Having an
like
affair.
that?
Black
That was
bag.
your best bet.
Yeah, I did.
And you're going to start using that in real life, right?
Black bag. Yeah.
Hey, Luke, who was that? Who did you have a threesome with last night?
Black bag.
Hey, Luke, what do you use to contain the rubbish in your rubbish bin?
Black bag. What do I mean? No one knows. I also didn't follow a lot of the plot, which could admittedly be I'm stupid, I'm dumb, but it meant I didn't enjoy it because I was like, what are we doing and why? I don't know.
I saw this film separately to Luke. On different days, different cinemas, different states of mind. Mm-hmm. I went with my girlfriend. We're both smart people. My girlfriend and I, and Luke.
Thank you.
We all have university degrees.
I have 2.
Luke has 2. Laura and I have 2 between us. I think we're intelligent people. I do not know what happened in this film.
Oh, thank God.
All.
Thank God.
If you tried to ask me the plot of this movie, when I was doing the summary at the beginning, I was like, I am running out of things I understood in this movie.
I'm so relieved.
I find movies like this, so I wouldn't say I hate the movie, like hate it in the way. I find these kinds of movies unbearable. I saw, when I was younger, Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy in the cinema, and I didn't understand a word of what was going on. And that movie's like fucking 2.5 hours. This movie at least is 90 minutes.
Yeah.
There's something about people doing this, what you say, this kind of glib, stylized dialogue.
And it's all like fast.
Back and forth,
it's fast
whatever.
paced.
And they're throwing in bits of information about, so-and-so needed so-and-so dropped the files over at in the Zurich.
No, but they'll do something. It's also like they'll throw in a joke and a plot point at the same point. They'll be like, GDC HQ is just called. And they're like, oh, yes, I think they wouldn't they? And you're like, I don't know what you mean. I don't know what your stereotypes of GDC HQ are. I don't even know what the fuck that is.
And I just cannot follow stuff that is presented in that way. I speaking of university, I stopped going to lectures at university because when someone is standing there talking to me and I'm not responding, and I just have to like internalize what they're saying, my brain can't take it on. I need to like sit and look at something and like go through it at my own pace or see a visual thing that's happening. But when it's just people chat, I'm just like, what is going on? And also, you know, things are said once, things are dropped in and then brought back later. And I have no fucking idea I just don't know what's happening. Also, it's miserable. And Laura was the same. Laura didn't know anything that happened either.
Good. Yeah, and also because it's like people also I don't mind, like, dialogue in movies should be heightened sometimes, right? It doesn't have to be like, this is how people talk in real life. But no one talks like 100% of the time in quips. It feels like the script is like so overwritten.
So this is a very early line in the movie, and this is a very good example of what the chat is like. This is between Michael Fassbender and Cate Blanchett. What's on the menu? Fun and games. Will it be a mess to clean up? With any luck. And it's just this kind
angry.
of unbearable, like, wry, smug, unrealistic, kind of cold, sort of sexy but like dead behind the eyes dialogue. And I find it so dull. I find it so boring because it just... Movies are about connecting to characters. Movies are, as Roger Ebert said, machines for empathy. And I cannot empathize with people who are like these fucking quick-talking, smart... whips. It's the equivalent of like having really hot people in movies. Yeah. It's like having people in being like, look how quick-witted and droll and I'm just like, shut up, fuck off. Feels like you're not a real person.
It's that sort of chat you sometimes get with like elitist private schools when they're like trying to be like do an intellectual one-up on everyone, and you're like, why are we having a competitive chat when we should just be discussing something in like we're friends? Like, why are you trying to be like, actually, and you're like, oh, Roger, you fucking you absolute madman. It's like, just shut up and talk like a real human being, or show some vulnerability, you repressed piece of shit.
And there are people who are like that, and you know, it's not, I guess it's not entirely unrealistic that, you know, I doubt people in fucking MI5 are like that, but there are, you know, I was at Oxford and there's lots of people there who are fucking twats, and the whole thing's like an intellectual bragging contest.
Every single character to be like that.
Well, here's my point. Like, it's not, I don't enjoy spending time with the characters, and a complaint I usually don't like people saying is like, I found the characters unlikable, right? I think you can find characters unlikable because they're bad or you know, you don't sympathize with them.
You're meant to feel that way sometimes.
It's a difference between finding, like, thinking someone's a bad person and not liking them versus finding their company a huge drag and tedious. And that's how I felt with this film. Now, if I knew what was going on, I think I probably would have probably would have been able to like put aside these feelings. Because, you know, there's a bit of backstabbing, there's a bit of this and that, and and who cares that they're talking like this? But when you literally don't know what's happening, because there's a two line, you like tuned out and looked at your hand for a minute, and now you're like, oh, okay, and you're like,
what the hell?
Now I don't know what the hell is
Severus or Sirius.
They keep talking about Severus.
Severus. Is it a guy? Is it a thing? Don't even know.
I mean, I blocked out my mind. It's one of those movies where, like, as soon as it ended, my brain was like, oh, I don't have to remember or think about this ever again.
It's also like, it pulls out all the drama. Like, there's a big scene where they have to like secretly use a satellite they're not supposed to use, and they've got like a countdown timer of how long they can use it before they get caught. And I have no idea what happens if they get caught using it. And I don't know what they're doing. So I'm just sitting there being like, there's a clock.
That might have been explained. We just didn't understand.
Well, but it doesn't matter. It's like the tension is gone because I'm just like, all right, well, there's a countdown. I guess that shouldn't get to zero.
I could get on board with that scene purely because it was like something was actually happening. Yeah. It was like, oh, they are using a thing they shouldn't be using. They need to use it within this time. And I was like, okay, I can understand that concept. The vast majority, very, very little of the film is something actually happening. The vast majority of the film is conversations between the people involved, and saying things like, "It would appear my young friend and I might benefit from a private conversation." Another line I wrote down. And there's some interesting stuff it brings up, right? There's a line later in the movie where they basically state the main point, or one of the main points of the thing. One of the main points of the things, when you can lie about everything, how can you believe anything? Or something. They say something like that.
Yeah, but that's not the main thrust of the movie in terms of like, I didn't get that feel. I never thought about that until they said that. I was lost. I was just like, I don't know who's lying. They're all lying, as far as I can tell.
So the primary level the film's supposed to work on is just this spy plot. Who's the bad guy, etc. Didn't understand that. Didn't work for me at all. The sort of second level down is the more interesting level, which also didn't work for me because I didn't know what was going on, but I could actually see was a bit more interesting. And that was the level of, like, what's more important, your spouse or your country? How important is the truth, and how do you know if someone close to you is lying, and all these different things.
That is, to me, a great premise for a movie.
Yeah.
There's drama, and there's also, like, that can go into personal stuff, because it's like, what if they're having an affair? It can go into, like, the national stuff. It's like, are they, who are they chatting to? Is it better to keep your partner in the dark for their own safety because you love them? Obviously, great, exciting thing that is also interesting from spies. Like, these people are professional liars, and, like, how do they maintain a relationship?
Yeah.
But I don't feel like any of that really, there was no scenes in the movie made me really think about that in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah, I think it did make me think about it a bit, but I found things were so heightened that it didn't feel real. I wasn't like it didn't feel like it was exploring it in a very human way. And I think
felt like Mr. and Mrs. Smith for people who think they're smart but are also dumb. Mr. and Mrs. Smith is a dumb movie, but it knows it's dumb. Whereas this is a dumb movie that thinks it's smart. Unless it is actually smart and I'm dumb. Yeah, which is the other alternative.
Definitely possible.
Yeah, we want to make sure we're clear about all options. We could be the ones at fault here. This could be the best movie ever made.
I don't think it's a dumb movie, and it does the few things I did understand. I was kind of aware that it was subverting expectations in an interesting way. And one example of this is at the very beginning of the movie, Michael Fassbender's colleague comes up to him and is like, "There's 5 people who we've figured out could be the rat or whatever the fucking is. Is it even a rat? Is it like a mole or yeah? But it's someone leaking information.
Yeah,
I can't even. Character. I can't already. I saw it like the day before yesterday, and I can't remember anything.
Yeah.
It's like, anyway, one of these people might be the mole. Your wife is on the list. Sorry about that. We had to. And anyway, you then think, like, it feels like the most obvious thing that would happen in any other movie is, of course, it's going to slowly turn out to be the wife, and he's going to have to wrestle with this. To be fair to the movie, it doesn't. I'm not saying it isn't the wife or that it is the wife. It doesn't. That's not what happens. It does kind of. The plot follows a more subtle, complex, interlinking thing. And maybe if I was reading a book, or I was saying to Laura afterwards, maybe if we were watching at home and we were like pausing it and taking notes and being like, so who are they talking about? What's happening here? I might have had quite a good time, but couldn't do it. I can do cryptic crosswords.
Yeah, you're a board
I can
game.
do cryptic cross. I mean, not well.
No, but
not
you
really.
You
I
love
can do some of them.
You love puzzles. You're obsessed with them. Puzzles and games.
I have an IQ of 241.
What? No, you don't. I have one of 2,000.
One divided by 2,000? Mm-hmm. 1 over 2,000. So that's 0. We'll round down.
It's a real nightmare. Imagine having 0 IQ. I don't know what is going on.
I wonder what the lowest IQ you can have is.
I know that 83 and below is learning difficulties.
Yeah.
And I do find it hard to learn.
Yeah. Is there like watching spy thriller difficulties?
IQ 243. You understood black bag.
That's my in the new culture of like trying to find cases of victimhood that you can apply to your own life. I'm adding myself to the minority of people that find spy thrillers too confusing to enjoy. Saying we are not being heard in our court systems. Too many of our politicians know and love the work of John le Carré. We need more thick cunts like us who need to read the Wikipedia article of the film's plot after watching it to be sure that they know what happened.
I mean, I got to be honest. I don't think I've watched James Bond movies, and I don't think I'm 100% sure I know what the plot of like the evil guy often is. I'm just sort of like, oh yeah, James Bond just being James Bond, get the bad guy.
I think part of what it is for me with things like that is like, I think some people are so sort of tantalized and excited at the idea of like a spy movie. It's kind of, I've talked about this about like blokes like in gangster films and stuff
Yeah.
before. There's another thing, guys like, ooh, spies and ooh, espionage and ooh. They watch that and their cocks are hard and they're...
Oh,
they're
Do you have a big hard cock watching this movie?
But they just like the idea, and so they probably are. Their brains are just tuned in. Whereas for me, like I find nothing like fundamentally exciting. I did actually get offered a job at MI5, but that's a story for another day.
About that.
None of the people I spoke to were like the people in this movie. I don't find it kind of inherently tantalizing and interesting, so my brain has to work harder to get involved and pick up all the details. And it just feels like the whole movie is like a big like word puzzle.
Yeah.
At least in like a fucking Poirot.
Yeah.
Right? It'll be like, oh, I was in the kitchen. And then maybe there will be a little flashback to them standing in the kitchen. I go, okay, someone was murdered, he was in the kitchen. This is like the main thing of the movie, this thing called Severus. You don't know what it is until the end of the film. So they're talking so like obliquely about like you don't even have like, okay, someone has been murdered who did a murder.
Yeah.
The movie is like, this thing has happened or been leaked. You don't even know what that is. And then you're trying to follow who was involved in that. I'm like, I don't know what's happening. I don't give a fuck. This is so boring.
Because even when it gets resolved as well, and you find out who are the bad people, even then I was like, but why did they do it?
Yeah.
And what were they trying to do? And like I can see the
dumb.
character. I can see the character is annoyed because they've lost or whatever, or been foiled. But I was like, I don't know what the stakes are, and I don't know what they want, and I genuinely have no idea why they did it.
Yeah.
And so I'm just like, it just made me think like, wow, like spy companies suck. Like they're all a bunch of crazy people who just want to lie and trick people for no reason. And also they sort of indirectly kill quite a few people in this movie, and never are they like, oh, we should think about, how our words get people fully murdered.
Yeah.
For pointless reasons. And I don't know. Also, I gotta say, I think spy genres are also ruined for me when I read, I think it was in The Economist, where they had some interviews with some former spies from various organizations. And every single one of the spies they interviewed was either a pedophile or someone that they had horrendous blackmail on. And they were just like these dumb, ugly, completely like unlikable people who just like sat listening on a like radio all day, and they were the spies who came up with the most impressive information that changed the courses of war.
So why did the paedophile agree to be interviewed?
Well, I think some of it was like just like accounts they had that were now like freedom of information stuff. So they had like biographies of certain people who died and this sort of stuff. It was like World War II sort of stuff. So I don't know if things have changed, but
but everyone was a paedophile in World War II.
But
you can't blame someone for being a paedophile in the 40s, Luke. What else was there to do?
But it's this whole idea of like, oh, there's a super spy, and
You
you're
play
like,
stick and a hoop, or you have sex with a...
Thank God
child.
TV came out,
Thank God TV came out. Think about the number of people who are not paedophiles because of Big Bang Theory.
MTV.
Yeah.
But it was just like, to me, I was just like, this is also
I was thinking of having a kid, but then I saw Pimp My Ride. Sorry. Did I say having a kid?
Well,
Having sex with a child. I just want to clarify that.
We should clarify, yeah. But the idea of like super spies existing, and they all go to like Oxford, and they're all like these super like suave, smooth, very sexy people. It's just like, no, they're either been blackmailed or they're fucking nerds who are on a spy drone.
Yeah.
And those are the people who like, but no one wants to see a movie with those ugly cunts in it. So,
and that was going to be me. I was going to be one of those ugly cunts. I applied for a job at MI5 because I thought it would be funny. They said, yes, you can work here. I said, thank you. And they said, could you please not tell anyone? I said, not a problem. I then told most of the people I knew. It's like, hey, don't spread this around, but I'm about to start a job at MI5. It's top secret. And you're not, like, a lot of people don't even tell, like, their partner or their parents. Just so you know, no. And anyway, I got an email being like, we can't tell you why. We can't explain why, but just so you know, you do not have the job anymore. And I was like, right, fair enough. I shall leave it there.
I just can't think why you wouldn't want me, guys.
Yeah. God, I was so fucking depressed, though, because I was working... at Woucher at the time. And it was not a job I was particularly enjoying. And I was like gearing up to hand in my notice and leave and go and work at fucking MI5. And then MI5 was like, no. And I got that email in the middle of the workday, and I was just sitting in the office looking around like, guess I'm sticking around at Woucher.
Guys, you know how I ran into the office and said, I'm James Bond? I'm James Bond. Fuck all of
James
you.
Bond.
Might have jumped the gun on that one, guys. Did you think that's what the job was going to be? Do you think you'd be running around sort of countries having sex with like mobsters, exotic wives?
So there are two main jobs that they were hiring for. It was intelligence agents and intelligence analysts. So basically spies, like in-person spies and digital spies. And I was going to be the digital spy. I was going to be looking at data and
I've seen your emails.
that kind of thing. Yeah, the job interview, the main sort of like job interview day was one of the coolest, most fun things I've like ever done. It was like they gave me like intel, and then they gave me all these like databases of like information, and they were like, we think a terrorist attack might be gonna happen. Look at all this information and see if you can like put together like an idea of what it might be. And it was like they gave me all these people's social media profiles, all fake info, flight logs, phone calls, downloads, and I was like would go on like one person's social media and see that he'd use like a different name, and then I'd look up that person's name there and see that they called someone from this gang. And it was like being a fucking spy detective. It was so cool.
Yeah.
And to the extent that I've thought about like making like a kind of escape room type thing where it's like, but it's like you're a spy and you have to crack the case.
That'd be pretty cool. So is it? Did they not do that thing where they like they bring in a puppy, and then they give you a gun?
Yeah.
And they're like,
"Oh yeah, no,
are you
they
willing
did that.
to do this for your country?"
I passed the test.
Yeah, you had sex with the dog.
No, they brought the dog in, and they were like, "Sam, will you?" And I punched the dog to death.
They're like, "You didn't have to do that."
And they were like, well, actually, we give you a gun and the gun has blanks in it, so we don't have to kill the puppy. And so she had radioed this guy and she was like, John, it's happened again. But overall, I think that like helped my case because they could tell I was willing to...
He was determined.
Yeah. Little did they know I'd always wanted to punch a puppy to death.
It's more you being a blabbermouth rather than a murderous psycho was the failing point.
Yeah.
God.
They were like, MI5's getting too woke.
Yeah.
We need someone who's gonna who's willing to abuse,
slap some
animals.
puppies to death and say some slurs.
Oh my god, I had to have this like interview about my entire life, everything that happened in my life, asking what's every sexual partner you've ever had? How often do you...
Must have been a pretty short interview, am I right?
How often do you masturbate? What drugs do you take?
No.
Things like that. And
do you lie in that?
Everything. You were supposed to tell the truth. And I was like, okay, well, this will be fine. It'll just be some like old FBI MI5 bloke.
Yeah.
And the woman who was doing the interview was like 23 years old, like the most beautiful woman I'd ever seen in my life.
Do you think they do that deliberately?
And, well, people always ask that. I don't know. But she was like, what kind of porn do you watch? Was one of the questions.
What did you say?
and I can tell you exactly what I said. I said, normal porn. And she said, and what's normal porn? And I said, a man and a woman having sex together. Scribbles down her notepad. And then I'm like,
God.
oh no, that was too heteronormative an answer. Or two men. Do you watch Two Men? No, but I would if I was gay.
I'd be open to it. MI5. If you want me to be, I'll do whatever you want.
My life would be very different.
I mean, you might still work for MI5. I don't know. Maybe this is all part of your double
plan.
bluff. But you're not smarmy like these people in this movie, so maybe you don't work for them. Should we get into spoilers?
Oh, I was going to say, like, I don't even really know if there's any point.
No, I've got some things to say about spoiling bits of the movie.
Sorry. I apologise for that sidetrack tangent. Quickly get into spoilers for Black Bag.
All right, let's go. Well, the therapist character...
Yeah.
Worst therapist I've ever seen on a movie ever.
Right.
She's shagging 2 of her clients.
Yeah. Yeah.
2 of her clients and going out to dinner with them all at the same time.
But that's the point of the movie. It's sexy and bad.
Yeah, but this just makes me think MI5 is run really poorly. That
I mean, it's just
who's this
it's just not
completely
realistic.
obviously terrible therapist?
Yeah.
Who's like clearly just likes to stir shit up for no reason.
Yeah. I mean, Laura, who's training to be a counsellor at the moment, it's like the amount that they're like going on at you about like all of the therapist training stuff that I could see is about like boundaries. Yeah, not a good therapist.
Not at all. It's like, let me rile up these field agents who've murdered multiple people. Let me just poke those massive bears there and see what happens.
Yeah.
Also, I fucking hated the end scene. I thought it was so stupid. I like
where the guy gets shot.
Yeah, well, also that whole thing of like, we're going to play a game, loads a gun, throws it on the table, and anyone is supposed to be like, oh yeah, obviously don't go for that gun.
Yeah.
Because then he was like, how did you know it was me? It's like, oh, because you grabbed the gun. I'm like, number one, that doesn't prove anything. Because if someone threw a gun on the table, the first thing I would do is like, I'm going to make sure I have the gun so that no one has the gun. Because why is there a gun?
Yeah, it's a weird contradiction, really, isn't it? The sort of like stylized, fun silliness of the chat, of the game with the gun, of the kind of flirty sexiness, and then the kind of confusing, serious political espionage information that you're trying to take in. It's like at least Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy was just boring the whole way. This is like, whoa, this is I prefer this to Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy.
Also, but also, like, my same point with Mr. and Mrs. Smith. At least Mr. and Mrs. Smith is a dumb, silly movie, so that will be done with some fun. Whereas this is just like, no spy would really do this.
Yeah, that
was idiotic.
Stupid. I mean, maybe,
and then also the fact she brings out another gun, being like, that was actually a fake gun.
This is the real gun.
You idiot. And like, why doesn't he have his own gun? And also, they're in the UK. Why does anyone have any guns? Like, there's that fucking scene where, what's his name? Michael Fassbender's just in the garden, and then Marissa Abella literally just has a revolver on her table. And I'm like, no one in the UK just has a revolver on their table. And she's like instantly ready to shoot. I'm like, no, you guys are all fucking crazy.
Maybe if you're a super spy, you do.
She's not a super spy. She's like an intern or something, or like satellite manager.
Is she comedian Jacabella's sister?
Yeah, so we have to be very careful about anything critical we have to say.
I was going to say it. I think she's sexy.
I think Jack will love that.
Can I say that?
I think that's nice. Yeah, I think that's maybe a nice thing to say.
Listen to this, will he?
I don't know. Jack, if you're listening, nice, says Sam.
To be fair, my girlfriend came out and was like, she's very sexy, isn't she? And I was like, yeah.
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 Well, Jack's very sexy too. Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I I love Jack.
Yeah.
I love Jack.
I think I've met him like once.
Well,
Severus, it turns out, is a plan to blow up a nuclear power station.
wait, is that what it was?
Yeah, I
Okay.
think so.
It was like a virus.
And then one of them was like, oh, I'm going to blow one up in Russia and that will end the Russia-Ukraine war, but millions of people will die. But thousands of people will die as part of the... I don't fucking know.
Yeah, I didn't
couldn't
understand
do it.
that bit
I
at
couldn't-
all. And that's
is the whole
that's
point of
what
the
Pierce
film.
Brosnan wanted to do.
Oh yeah, Pierce Brosnan is in the film.
He's the main bad guy.
Is he?
Well, kind of. Like, at least at the end, he's like, oh, you foiled my plan.
Yeah.
And I've no idea. Also, it's so funny, that scene where it's like, that fish you're eating is illegal. It's like, oh no.
Oh yeah, but that's because it's like a horrible... It's like they cut the fish alive.
Yeah.
So you're eating it while it's still flapping
Yeah,
around.
but I just found that such a funny scene to be like, let's show him as the worst guy ever. He's just,
Right, okay.
And they've gone to this illegal fishmonger. It's just so
Illegal
weird.
sushi place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's, I don't know, yeah. And I also find it so weird that Pierce Brosnan, as a former James Bond, is in the movie. So it just makes me think James Bond has gone bad.
It's clearly done intentionally, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right,
he's
again,
not even in it that much.
that should be a tongue-in-cheek fun thing, whereas it's like, in this, you're just like, why is James Bond being a fucking bellend? In a different kind of way.
Yeah.
In a villainous way, whereas normally he's... Also, I hated, and I thought was so stupid, was that they kept being like, today is Monday. Today is Sunday.
It has, like,
is
Monday, Tuesday on
like
the
every
thing.
5 minutes. And there's literally one where it's like them eating dinner and then it goes like, it's Tuesday. No, it's Wednesday. I'm like, why? And also, what was really confusing was, I don't know whether it's going forward in time or backward in time.
I think
or
it
whenever.
was going forward in time.
Well, you think, but maybe it was like, is this Tuesday last week? I don't know. I'm so lost. It could be.
I think when it's like Sunday, Monday, Tuesday,
Yeah, there's no...
I think it usually, you would think that's going forwards in time,
Yeah.
which it was.
Well, no, but it could be going back, couldn't it? You never know.
Yeah, but you can't watch every movie being like, well, this could be the past. How do I know this isn't the past?
Sorry, a movie as incoherent as this, I feel like they need to give me the time, the date, the full thing, so I know where we're going.
Yeah.
Because also a lot of spy movies do that thing where they're like, 1100 hours and 1 second and 2 seconds and 3 seconds.
Yeah.
Yeah. But they didn't. They just said it's Tuesday. And I guess that's important for no reason.
It's
also-
a shame neither of us knew what happened in this film.
And also the bit
what's
where-
really annoyed me is reading the Letterboxd reviews. None of the top reviews are, I did not understand anything that happened in this film.
Oh, no.
All clever people saying why they did or didn't like the film.
Yeah.
But no one being like, but I am stupid. Which is why it's so nice to meet a fellow thicko and run a podcast with him.
Yeah, bad movie. Black Bag. Didn't like it.
Black Bag.
Black Bag. Also, this is something I found that was unintentionally funny, was when they go around for dinner the second time and Marissa Rabella's like, the carpet is, why is there a new carpet? Being like, oh my God, someone's going to get shot on the carpet. Then they shoot the guy in the head and all his blood goes on the wall. I just imagine Michael Fassbender's character just being like, oh fuck, I'm just supposed to go on the carpet. It's all over the fucking paintwork. Oh, his fucking brain's there.
Yeah.
Oh, what a mess. And there's a bullet hole in the wall. I really thought you'd just fucking bullet in his head, land on the carpet. And also why they get the money at the end. Why do they get £7 million at the end? I don't think so. I don't think they get that
Luke,
money.
you can't ask more and more specific details about the plot when we can't even tell you in the broadest of senses what the movie was about.
Yeah, I guess not. But I also hate that they're all horny all the time as well.
Why do you hate that they're horny?
I'm just like, ugh, why are you horny? Like, you're terrible people. Like, there's that bit where she's like, yeah, I'm going to launch an airstrike, and then, like, saunters off in her, like, bright red jacket, which is like, all right, well, clearly all eyes on her, the fucking inconspicuous spy. And she's just ordered a bunch of people to be killed. And she's like, yeah, I win. Now I'm going to go fuck my husband. It just annoyed me.
I think one of the things I did like, and again, I didn't understand the film well enough to truly like it, but I liked the fact that the film seemed to go in the direction of these people kind of choosing love and loyalty to their partners over national security and that kind of thing. And that being like a bit more fun and silly and sexy than someone going, I'm going to have to betray you. I'm so sorry. Yeah. Like that feels kind of
more
Hollywood
interesting.
And whatever. I
do agree with that. I agree with that.
It either was or had the ingredients to be a good film, but I didn't understand it. So thought it was a bad film for me on my head.
You know what I did understand was Magic Mike. I followed that the whole way through. It's great.
Yeah.
Big muscles.
Channing
Tatum is hot.
I don't think I've actually seen Magic Mike.
Oh, Matthew McConaughey is hot.
Is he hot? He's a bit like scrawny. I just think of him as...
Oh, God. Watch this movie. He's wedge.
That AIDS movie that he's in.
Well, he's scrawny in that because he's got AIDS. But this is...
Yeah.
This one, he's got pecs. Pecs. And abs. And actually, most of all, ass.
He's got ass. I can't imagine.
Ass. He's got assless chaps. And he's like, can you touch? No. The law says you can't touch. But I see a lot of lawbreakers out there. And then they all touch him loads.
Wow.
Isn't that better than fucking... Shall we make a mess? Ooh, I hope so.
What did you like more, this or Presents?
I didn't like either of them.
I like Presents a lot more than this.
Yeah, Presents was better. I'll go with that. I actually knew what was going on in Presents.
Yeah. It was a ghost.
It was a ghost.
We're overrunning massively. This is the end of the podcast.
All right. Wait, I got one more thing to say.
Okay. No, you're doing the editing.
Okay, I don't. I'm finished.
What were you going to say?
Can't remember. There was something I was going to say.
I'm looking at Luke's notes. It says swaggering cunts on it. Good stuff.
Yeah, I'm done.